scheduled. Okay, but those who are not interested in anything may actually, I mean, it's a suggestion because marks in any case is going to be need to be submitted, so it's better to decide which one examination you prefer. Okay, so today I'm going to start with this unit 3, and unit 3 is all about the professional ethics. And I mean, we need to understand these principles because these principles will help you to proceed further in your professional life. So we'll start first with this moral autonomy, the topic, because there are two important topics we have to start, either the senses of engineering or moral autonomy. So I thought to start with this moral autonomy. Moral autonomy means, of course, it's two words, moral and autonomy. So when it comes to term autonomy, I hope you people will be able to explain the term autonomy. I would like anyone to tell what is autonomy. Yes, Rizuana, can you explain it, what is autonomy?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, please explain. Yes, can you tell me what is autonomy? Basically, when we read theory, these are the perception of an individual. Okay, so any I mean, it's not just a grammar or something where we are having strict principles. If we associate the name, if we associate this is the theory given by such and such person, then we should understand how he explained. Okay, or it interpret with the justification. So I mean, so right now I'm asking autonomy, and my question is all about your perspective. If you want to refer the definition of dictionary, okay, that's all okay. Or if you want to explain the dictionary's definition that is given in the dictionary, that's again is okay. Or if you have any own interpretation, that's again okay. So please, I want you to tell, I already asked Rizwana to kindly tell me what is autonomy. Yes, sir, can you unmute and tell what is autonomy? Autonomy means personal right. Okay. Rizwana, can you unmute? Are you there in the class? Yes, are you in the class, Rizwana? You can join again. I'm removing. So, Shivangi, can you tell me what is autonomy?
Ma'am, right to self government.
Right to self-government. Okay. Means somewhere you are saying it's, decision making power. Shivam is saying autonomy is about a person's ability to act on his own values and interests. I hope you getting the point, because autonomy is something which very much related to decision making or self governance. This actually can be a definition. Now we are aware even about the autonomous institutions where there is no controlling body, like in the case of Sikkim University, it's a central university. That means it's It's in one case sense it is controlled by the central government. In second sense, you can say it's an autonomous body, because all the decisions are taken by the university itself. We have a system of governance. We have the authorities, hierarchy in the authorities, who is the highest authority. Like in the case of vice chancellor, he is the highest academic authority. And yes, we have a governing body who ultimately takes the decision. Like in the case of pandemic, or you can refer the example of pandemic, when the system of education, teaching, and even examination got disturbed, and all it was not just a decision of a teacher. The university, in this 2 years, you can say, university decide how to proceed with the examination. And there was no outside force that was saying, no, you have to conduct examination, or you have to do in this and that. And that's actually a kind of autonomy. Now, I try to explain you autonomy. There is another important term which I believe you should know, that is sovereignty. Okay, you can explain sovereignty means autonomy in governance. Okay, because the country is I mean, so when you talk about a country, we used to call state at the international level. Okay, country at national level, but most of the time state in the at international level. So our country is a sovereign country. That means we can decide any matter related to our country. External force, war, that all are the, coercive means. We can say these means are totally different, but a country is a sovereign country. Before 1950 or before 1947, you can refer it as explaining it. But we were not independent, and we were not a sovereign country. We got sovereignty only after the independence. So sovereignty is a more a political, or you can say a legal term. But autonomy, you can understand, is something where you can decide at your own. Okay, like even I can say that there was one answer with regard to autonomy. There's a personal right. Yes, it's a right to decide about yourself. And suppose we used to call, do you have autonomy to take decision, or do you need to take permission of your parents? So it can be like that. Now, the main discussion or the main content, the question may come in your examination: what do you mean by moral autonomy? Explain it with certain theories. Okay, so here moral autonomy means autonomy and moral both. So when you say autonomy means self-governing, okay, we can say it's a self-governing but relating to moral rules. Okay, and then what is moral autonomy? Moral autonomy actually means the right or the wrong conduct which is of independent on ethical issue. Okay, and moral autonomy means it's something that is related to improvement of an individual's moral thoughts, which make to adopt good habits. Like if I believe that I'm not having a good habit of studying early morning, or waking up early in the morning, then I should do it. Or I don't like people it means which have this habit and that this habit, or have an attitude. I don't like this is something that can be related to my approach. But when I realizes, no, why should I actually like or dislike people based on their nature, on their this is all about perception, let me ignore it. So when I am developing up or inculcating a particular moral principle, it is all because of moral autonomy. So you can say that moral autonomy deals with the improvement of an individual's moral habits. Okay, and this theory is very important because it ultimately results in the professional growth. And professional growth of an individual means professional growth of an organization, and ultimately professional growth of everyone associated with that organization. So, moral autonomy is concerned with the independent attitude of a person related to ethical issues. Okay, how to perceive, what should be ignored, these all are related to moral autonomy, and it helps to improve the self determination among the individuals. Actually, why it is important and why you people are studying for that, there is one justification of this particular content. that ultimately, if a person is good in his skills but bad in moral values, then definitely he is not useful for the organization, and when he is not useful for the organization, he is going to be removed. You yourself can cite many example where a person was terminated on the ground of moral turpitudes, moral wrongs. Okay, see, I mean, so of course, if a person, I mean, let me give this example, maybe a very particular example, like in the case of workplace harassment, workplace sexual harassment, you must have heard about it. Okay, it's a moral wrong. Now, it was a moral wrong before 2013, and in a case like if a person is cracking a joke that is non acceptable, or a joke that actually is having a sexual color, whether it is a wrong at before 2013, it was not I mean, something that you can say is a crime. After 2013, we got a law that simply governs the communications during the working hours, or at workplace. So now it's a legal wrong, but before that it was a moral wrong. Okay, so many times you are ignoring people for anything. It's not just about I'm not saying just a sexually colored remark, any comment like she's a fat, he's fat, and I mean anything like that. Even, wow, her voice is not good, his voice is not good, I don't like his face. These things, it's actually affect people. If you are saying these things, it affects people. And there was no such law which actually is saying this is wrong. So if we so means like one more example, like if two males are sitting together, or one male or one female are sitting together, and they are cracking a joke which ultimately affects the person sitting nearby, whether it is wrong or not, means these two people can take this argument. We both were talking with each other. If she is not liking, she can leave the that particular place. Now, it is a legal wrong, and those who are talking where they are aware that anyone can hurt, then it is their legal duty not to do it. Initially it was not. So I'm just taking the example that when it was a moral wrong. Okay, so moral wrong ultimately, because it's not a legal wrong, is not affecting anyone. So moral autonomy simply says you have to uplift your approach, you have to uplift the society. Okay, you have to grow, and how it is possible? It is possible when a moral upliftment is there. Okay, so moral autonomy is concerned with the independent attitude of a person related to ethical issue, and the justification of keeping this as in the syllabus is that ultimately this should not lead the institution to remove you from that place, because it affects ultimately the society. Okay, so society, and also the organization where you are working. So one more argument can be why there is a need for moral autonomy in the field of MCA, in the field of engineering ethics. So most of the material you are going to get in, it's not saying computer engineers, it's simply saying engineers. So the problem, or the reason, or the justification of keeping it here in the syllabus is, I'm just telling you, it's not you who are studying. Every discipline is having a paper on the professional ethics, and even in law we used to teach professional ethics. And even in this particular paper, professional ethics, we are even teaching that there are contempt of courts, civil contempts, and even a criminal contempt. The same is also here. However, you are not actually practicing in court, so you are not having any such concept like contempt of civil contempt of court, or criminal contempt of court, because advocates are required to work in court. So they are more required to have professional ethics while they are dealing with their clients, they are dealing with their co-advocates, or when they are actually practicing before the court, because court can actually punish them and ultimately result into their cancellation of license. So they have a paper of professional ethic, and that is applicable in their profession. Now in the case of MCA, MCA is also having a professional ethics, or engineering. Its complete engineering departments are also having a, and means of course this professional ethics. And the objective of engineering ethics can be not related to implanting particular moral belief on engineers, that you should believe to respect your elders, or you should believe that treat your colleagues I can say with honor and respect. So there is no such thing. Actually, I can say that they help the engineers and other professionals to strengthen their professional values like honesty, respect the colleagues, and think for the welfare of general public. So whatever things they are introducing as an engineer have these three important aspects. They will get the strength in their professional values. So because they are scientists, we can call them scientists, because they may bring an invention in terms of software. When I'm talking about computer engineer, if they are mechanical engineer, if they are chemical engineer, they may come with their, I mean, again, they can use their strength and can introduce something in the society with ultimate, or we can say with the honesty, and that actually serve the welfare of general public, because their work is to do that. So though these things again is already in the minds of people, I'm not saying that it's not there. Those who are studying, it's already there, that they are going to strengthen their understanding with the subject, they are going to strengthen their professional values, they are going to be, they are honest, because honesty they learned. I mean, dishonesty kab aata hai, I don't know, but yes, honesty is always there with the person. Okay. And even I mean, when we are introducing things, we are keeping two three things mind, at least is going to help me as well as some of my friends. So it's already there. When we are justifying it, we justified it with an understanding it's already there, but still the moral autonomy actually inculcate this particular things in those who are in the profession. Okay. Further, the structure objective of engineering ethics is to enable the individuals to understand the moral responsibility in a clear and careful manner. This unit will I have just started with unit 3, and it's not same as unit 1 and 2. So this philosophical lecture, the first philosophical lecture, will tell you why we need to understand these principles. Okay. However, I would like to tell that you must be aware about the many accidents that we are aware of, like the Bhopal gas tragedy. Okay. Can anyone tell what happened in the Bhopal gas tragedy? I just want an understanding of an engineer. Okay. I don't want any legal understanding here, any legal explanation. Just what you know, what you people are aware of Bhopal gas tragedy as a part of your profession, or whatever is your information can be, you can share with me. Yes. I don't want to call your name because this doesn't look good. It's just better if you yourself come forward and say something. Yes, Chandni, can you tell me what happened in Bhopal gas tragedy?
Chemical accident, ma'am.
Hello.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, yes, please tell.
It was a chemical accident.
It was a chemical accident. Okay. Even in the case of I mean, what particular gas was leaked there? Okay, methyl isocyanate. There was also another accident in our country. It was a leakage of oleum gas. Okay. So these accidents are there. Even the Chernobyl disaster is there. We are going to take them as as a case study in these two units. Okay. So these accidents could be controlled or not. I mean, that's, I'm not going into that investigation part, but an engineer is expected to be more aware of these things. And sometimes this not just a case of accident, there are some deliberate ignorance, and sometimes there are deliberate acts. Okay. In the case of chemical leakage, those who are the chemical scientists well aware what a gas can impact. Okay, how any particular chemical can impact on human body, and what can be the impact of that. Even small things creates a big disaster. So like in the case of computer engineer, those who are computer engineer are aware what electric and electronics can do again. So what accidents can be avoided. So these principles are important because of these reasons. Actually they enable and they inculcate that particular approach, and it's all about moral responsibility. Okay, so the main aim of studying engineering ethics is to increase the moral autonomy within the engineers. And moral autonomy in that way you can say is a skill and habit of thinking ethical problem in a rational manner. And these ethical issues are to be found on the basis of moral problems. And these general responsiveness of moral values are divided only from the training what we have received as a child with response to the sensitive and right of others and ourselves. So means of course till you are in PG you are a student. So this is your career's last stage of a student. After completion of your PG you will never be a student. If you want to be a student you need to repeat your UG or PG. So this is the last degree of a student life. After that, you if you are entering into research, whether MPhil or a PhD or any other body of for furthering any research, you will be scholars, so not the student. And that's why this is the last stage where you need to know more about the importance of moral autonomy. Suppose the training is not given in the childhood itself, those children may be, of course, ill treated or neglected by the society. So, in these children in future may grow up with lack of sense on moral issue because they never experienced it. They never realize that they should be because it's all about how anyone is going to treat me. I'm going to learn that only. Means of course we used to say you learn by action. You're not learn just by reading. Okay, your senses plays very important role. The involvement of all senses means learning is high. And ultimately if moral issues are lacking in a student or a child, they become a sociopath. Okay, they are never morally autonomous. They want regret for their mistakes and wrongdoings. And it's actually if you I mean sir, I don't know whether you are interested in this kind of a study or not, but what I realize after entering into law, that many if you need to investigate a crime, you need to find a motive behind that crime. And if you investigate the motive, you will be able to note sometimes the past plays a very important role in the commission of a crime. If a person is killing someone, if it's a case of serial killing, okay, or if it is a case of a normal crime, it's a crime committed by a person who was never expected to commit a crime, then what forced him to commit a crime when it was never expected. So maybe some circumstances. Ultimately all these are telling there is always a story. If I am very much careful about any my electronic device, I must have struggled to get it back, or I must have lost there was a loss of that device. Something happened that actually leads to me to be a particular type of person. So here this again there is this justification that it's better to do it from childhood. If it is not, then repeatedly these things should be told to those who are studying. Okay, I'm not saying that you should be a study. I'm telling that this you have to take it as a responsibility. It's not that you should develop your moral autonomy. I'm saying you should make it to make everyone to think in that way, because these moral concerns can be initiated or impacted among the engineers, mainly engineers of various subjects, and also by way of their friends or by social events occurring around them or by books and movies. So even because we are here at the time of this of I can say this of online study, I cannot ask you to watch some movie, but otherwise we could have suggested some movies, or we could have display some movies actually during the class to tell that how these things may help you to understand these concepts, because the question in your examination will come, discuss the autonomy or the principles of moral autonomy, why it is important an engineer to know it. So the main aim of all the courses of applied ethics is only to improve their abilities in order to face the moral issues critically, and this can only be achieved by improving the practical skills which are helping in producing effective independent or self determination thoughts among the individuals about the moral problems. So what I am communicating here, it's not just about tell them to sit and listen all these moral lectures. It's actually not possible, and it is going to make them irritated towards this particular topic. So tell them that to do some experiments and to find out what moral autonomy should be expected from a student who is studying engineering. So the first observation is skills for improving moral autonomy means they should have the competence for identifying the moral and ethical issues. Okay, like if an engineer is working in a company where they find that some of the people are not honest in their job, then they must take some action. Like if it is a senior, they, I don't know what should I suggest, but I will suggest you to find out a way to either make him correct his job, or if it is junior to you, you should just take care of it, because ultimately it's going to impact the organization or I mean the society. Okay, then even so what you can observe, if I'm saying one example, like if you're working in an organization where your juniors are corrupt, or where the those who are reporting to you are not correct, or they are corrupt, so you must have the ability to suggest the solution to these moral issues. Okay, and for that you need to understand the facts in a situation, and accordingly you should suggest. You cannot simply ask them, okay, you two are not, you two are corrupt, and I suggest you don't do it. It cannot be a way of correcting them, because you need to protect yourself also. If you are going to correct a fool, if you are going to correct a corrupt person, ultimately they will start hating you, and you will not be able to correct them, rather you will not be able to protect yourself. So in that way you have to develop that skill, how to correct them out of your ability. Then you must have this imaginative skills. You're not expected to be just a computer engineer, good in programming but bad in social dealing. That actually not going to work, because you are not going to stay in a single room. You are going to stay in a room where you can find 10 people, 20 people, 100 people, or even in the case it can be a big hall where 1,000 people are working. You never know where you are going to get the job. You cannot choose it, and if you're choosing, ultimately it is not going to work lifelong. For 1 year, for 2 years, for 10 years, you can work in a room where no one is sitting, but that's not possible. So you should along with this particular computer application, you need to develop social skills. And social skill means ethical skills also. And one more thing, there are people you will find everywhere who are really very good in handling these issues, moral issues, ethical issues, corruption issue, criminal issue. But there are some people who cannot be. I can say that if when it comes to me, I may not be good in it. Okay, I may be a bit rude, but yes, I'm trying to develop it, and that's actually very much important. So you should you should have the imaginative skills to view the problems from all viewpoints. You cannot be very much adamant that I'm not going to see any other point. You need to be very imaginative. If I'm there, what I'm going to do. So, and also you must be able to tolerate while giving moral judgments and decisions. You must have the adequate knowledge and understanding about the use of ethical languages as to defend or support their views and others. I think because you people are in PG, so you must be dealing with those who are in UG, or in intermediates, or those who are in secondary or senior secondary, I can say. And I must say you are having the experience and understanding that it's sometimes very difficult to handle a teen. It's not difficult to handle a PG. student or a scholar. Okay, but it's really very tough or difficult to handle those who are studying in secondary or senior secondary. And you yourself can go back to your time. I can go back to my time and I can understand that Riya said it was really difficult for my teacher and parents to handle me when I was in secondary and senior secondary. My brain was full of energy and I was full of thoughts, imagination, and I was unable to imaginate after that particular age. Okay, that age was I mean said the peak of my creativity. So I'm just telling, if you're going to see it right now, you will be able to imagine those who are studying in secondary, senior secondary or UG courses. So but when you will enter into profession, you are going to understand more I mean, you will get an addition to it, that is the PG students also. So at that particular stage of time, you are not required to be confined to PG. You should imagine how a senior is going to behave. Okay, so imagination must be high, and how to understand that you are possible when you have a tolerance. You should have adequate knowledge and understanding about the use of ethical language, and also you need to have a better knowledge in understanding the importance and suggestions of better solution while resolving moral problems. Suppose a problem arises and you are there as a supervisor and you are as the senior person, how you are going to proceed? You should see, ask them what solution they want, because you cannot give them that much freedom to disturb the organization. You have to balance it. So ultimately what is important in all running, or when you are at that particular point, is your own understanding, your own moral honesty, your own personal convictions and beliefs. So and this ultimately is going to help you to make your decision correctly. Okay, so I've just tried to say something about moral autonomy, but I would like to tell one more thing, because if I'm going to incorporate a question on moral autonomy and the principles of moral autonomy, I will leave it to you how you interpret. But one thing I would suggest you, please, in examination, if this question comes, you should have some theory, some justification, some way out how to proceed with moral autonomy, what ultimately it is going to result. So I think this much is enough. I don't want to bore you more about this topic. I just wanted to give a start, because when I will jump on the theories, I will be able to be more explanative, and it can be more interesting to you. But right now, a basic of moral autonomy I have completed. If you want to ask anything, you can ask, or I can close this class for today. Anything about that? So
No,
just
ma'am.
as I
Thank you.
No question. Okay. Okay, Shivam. So just keep this question in your notebook, or note it down that a question may come. What do you understand by moral autonomy? Okay, or and why it is important for an engineer? Why why there is a need for moral autonomy in the field of engineering ethics? So please develop your answer. I tried to give you an idea. Okay, and you can cite your certain examples for explaining your own understanding. So with this I close this class. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, okay, next week I will proceed with the theories.